The energy that lingers after a major portal is always stronger than the moment it opens. When people think the event has ended, that the moment of November 11 has passed and everything is closed, another layer of energy begins quietly cascading into the deeper strata of the field. The real power does not lie in the moment the gate opens, but in what remains after the collective noise fades. This explains why many people feel the most intense shift not during the portal itself, but in the days that follow when no one is talking about it anymore. The silence after a major vibrational surge always carries a frequency purer than the surge itself, because when the collective is still focused on a milestone, the energy is constantly stirred up, chaotic, overlapping, difficult to discern. But when the collective stops paying attention and everything becomes quiet, the most refined part of the energy begins to settle and sink into the deeper layers of awareness. This is the moment when those who are truly sensitive, truly awake, truly stepping into a new cycle will feel most clearly that something is happening within them, even though November 11 has passed. The afterglow is not the leftover of an event. It is its strongest part. It is like the light remaining after the sun has set, a light that is not radiant but penetrating, gentle, steady, and able to reach places that direct light cannot. This is the phase in which energy no longer expresses itself through excitement or intense vibration, but through very small changes with high precision in perception and emotion. You may wake up and realize you no longer align with something that felt familiar just yesterday. You may look at a relationship and realize you no longer want to hold on to it. You may feel something inside begin to shift. Subtle but real, small but decisive. These signals are not the result of daydreaming or imagination. This is how the field processes post-portal energy. When the portal opens, it pushes a new frequency to the surface of your awareness. But when the portal closes, that frequency begins to move deeper and merge with the inner structure of your being. The afterglow is the field's process of checking your compatibility with a new reality. It is not loud, not dramatic, not explosive. It is quiet, but so quiet that it can change the entire direction of a life. What is special is that this phase affects only those who are truly ready. Not everyone can feel it. Those who only chase the event without doing the inner work will feel that the portal has ended. But those who are truly transforming within will realize that the energy after November 11 is actually the part they need. This is why many people feel that everything in their life is being rearranged in a subtle way. Not obvious, but certain. Not forceful, but profound. Not pushing, but irresistible. The afterglow works like a second wave. The first wave opens the door and shakes the old structure. The second wave, the wave of the post-portal phase, is the one that actually brings you through the real gate. This wave shows you clearly where you stand and where you want to go. It clears away what no longer fits, brings up the parts you need to face, and reveals the truths you have tried to avoid. This is the phase where everything becomes more real. You are no longer distracted by the excitement of a spiritual event. You are left with yourself and the frequency that is touching you. The afterglow is the moment you realize that real change does not happen because you wait for a special date. It happens because you become someone who can hold the frequency the portal brings. November 11 is only a marker. The transformation that happens in the days after is what actually moves you onto the timeline you have been called toward for a very long time. The internal portal is not a gateway that lives on a calendar. It does not depend on any date, month, or human-made milestone. It opens at the exact moment you realize that a very subtle movement is unfolding inside you, a quiet shift that you can no longer ignore. What matters most is that you do not need to wait for November 11 to step into the real gate. The outer portal only awakens you. The inner portal is where you actually enter. And the inner portal is always open for the one who is ready. There is a truth you need to face right now. And I want you to ask yourself a very simple question that holds enough power to unlock an entirely new layer of reality. Are you feeling that a part of your old self no longer fits you? Is something within you whispering that it is time to turn in another direction? Has there been a moment recently when you looked at yourself and sensed a bit of unfamiliarity, a bit of detachment, as if you have outgrown the old mold you lived in for too long? I ask you this not to create an effect. I ask because the very moment you dare to answer yourself is the moment the inner portal opens. The internal portal does not open through rituals. It opens through honesty. It opens when you are brave enough to look straight at yourself and say that you have changed, even just a little. Many people wait for a special moment to transform. They think there must be a big portal, a dramatic sign, a light, a strong synchronicity. But the essence of real gateways is not that loud. They work like the first crack on the shell of your old awareness. Subtle but undeniable. Small but enough to make you pause. Silent but leaving you unable to return to what you were. When you feel that, even for a second, it means you are standing right at the door. And if you feel you belong to these words, I want you to leave me a small signal. Just comment, I am ready, or more simply, comment the number 1. Not to boost interaction, not to make the video look good, but so that you yourself can see that you dared to place a marker here. Very small marker, but enough for the field to read your signal. I also want to know that I am not speaking alone. People who create work like this find the greatest value in knowing someone on the other side is truly present, open, and watching their own journey. Your comment is your small step into your own gateway, and I am more grateful for it than you think. Back to the inner portal. When November 11 passes, many people think they have missed it, but the field does not use the concept of missing. The field only uses the concept of compatibility. When you are compatible enough, the gate opens. When you are not yet compatible, the gate does not close. It simply stays still, waiting for you to change. The internal portal is where your frequency meets the frequency of a new reality. It does not wait for a date, it waits for your state. The surprising thing is that some people step into the strongest part of the portal, not on November 11, but on the 13th, 15th, or even the 22nd. Not because they are late, but because their heart opened at the right time. You cannot use a calendar to measure awakening. You can only use your honesty with yourself. If you pause for 1 second and feel you no longer belong to the things that once felt familiar, that is the portal. If you feel you can no longer tolerate an old environment, that is the portal. If you feel your heart urging you toward another direction without knowing why, that is the portal. These shifts are not random. They are the field's way of letting you know the gate has opened from within. The internal portal is not a supernatural moment. It is the moment you bravely admit to yourself that you are done with the old version of you. You have completed everything that version came to do. You have reached the point where holding on to it only makes your energy heavy and misaligned with your true direction. When you acknowledge this, even before doing anything, you have already stepped halfway through the gate. The rest is not effort, the rest is agreement. The internal portal is your agreement with the deeper version of yourself that you know you belong to. It is not determination, it is not motivation, it is not self-help, it is awareness. And that awareness is the energy that opens a new reality. Maybe you have felt your body shifting, maybe the familiar world is starting to feel different. Maybe you sense something both strange and familiar within yourself. That is not disorder, that is a shift in frequency. The internal portal is the moment you realize you are no longer living through old logic, but through a new sense of knowing. You no longer ask yourself what you should do, you simply know what is no longer meant for you. You no longer hold on to people or stories that have run their course. You no longer feel excited about things that once stimulated you. You no longer feel at home in an identity you have carried for too long. That is how the portal opens from within, without date, without time, without ritual. Just one moment of realization. And if you are in that moment, let me know with a small signal. Comment "I am ready" or simply comment the number 1. It is the sign that you are not only listening but responding. It is the confirmation that the deepest part of you has begun to move. And I am more grateful for that presence than anything else. The internal portal is the gate. No one can close again. Once you recognize it, you cannot return to the old version of yourself. And from the moment you place that signal, the field will begin rearranging everything around you to match the new frequency you are stepping into. Just one small step, one signal, one honest moment, and the inner portal will take you farther than you expect. The echo phase always begins at the exact moment when people think the energy has faded. But on the subtle plane, that is when all the data of the portal begins to sink into the inner structure of your energy field. The outer event has ended, but inside you a completely different process is activating. This is the phase where the field guides the new vibrations through multiple layers of your emotional, perceptual, and intentional system, making you feel as though you are stepping into a more refined version of yourself without any warning. The echo phase does not show up loudly. It does not bring the exhilaration of the moment when the portal opens. It does not create dramatic breakthroughs like the moments when you are meditating or declaring intentions. Its power lies in its subtlety and precision. The echo phase operates like the echo of a loud sound. The first sound is the opening of the gate, strong, sharp, clear, shaking the entire old structure. The echo after that is smaller, but it reflects the tone in a purer form because it is no longer mixed with the excitement of the initial moment. It travels deeper, softer, and touches the exact points the original sound could not reach. When the portal opens, you receive the signal. But when the portal closes, the echo phase is when that signal begins to descend into the exact layer you need to transform. This is why many people feel everything inside them becomes clearer, not on November 11, but in the days after. Not because they are late, but because the field waits for their inner state to become stable enough for the energy to land in the right place. When the echo phase unfolds, you will begin to feel a series of subtle yet deep changes. First is perception. You observe things that were familiar but now feel strange. Stories that once made you sad or anxious no longer trigger a strong reaction. Things that used to anger you suddenly feel dull. You start seeing everything as if there is a space between you and them, not a cold distance, but the distance of clarity. The echo phase helps you see more clearly every movement inside your inner world. It shows you what you are doing out of old habit and what is pulling you from deeper layers. Things that were once attached to you suddenly fall away without effort. You find yourself no longer sticking to old emotions, no longer getting caught in familiar interpretations, no longer being affected by others' energy the way you used to. This is not because you have become insensitive, but because your frequency is changing and the echo phase is clearing away what no longer aligns. Next is emotion. The echo phase does not create massive storms, but it brings old emotions to the surface, like a thin layer of dust, so you can see them clearly before they leave. You may feel lightly sad, empty, or strangely quiet. These emotions are signs that you are shedding old emotional patterns you no longer need. They do not ask you to react. They only want you to see them and release them. This is how the portal completes the remaining transformation. One of the clearest characteristics of the echo phase is the shift in your relationship with your surroundings. You may find yourself no longer pulled into the old rhythm of life. You become more sensitive to others' energy. You clearly sense when something is off from your frequency. You become sharper with truth. You recognize when someone is not being honest with you or with themselves. You notice things you used to overlook. This is not a new ability. This is an old ability being reactivated because the echo phase is helping you remove the interference that once blurred your intuition. As the echo phase goes deeper, your body also begins responding. Some people feel the need to sleep more to integrate. Some feel more alert, even with less sleep. Some feel their body becoming lighter, as if a layer of invisible pressure is no longer there. These are signs that the body is adjusting to the new frequency, not in a harsh way, but in an intelligent and precise way. Changes in appetite, inspiration, focus, and the ability to receive information are all natural responses of the echo phase. What makes you heavy will fall away naturally. What makes you brighter will naturally move toward you. This is not coincidence. This is the process of frequency stratification, where you begin separating from old layers of reality and stepping closer to the timeline you are synchronizing with. The echo phase also brings a special kind of silence. Not the silence of emptiness, but the silence of everything being rearranged piece by piece. You may feel like you are standing at the intersection of two levels of awareness, no longer belonging to the old but not fully in the new yet. This state makes many people think they are stuck, but this is actually the most important part of the process. This is where you hold the new frequency long enough for it to become stable. The echo phase teaches you how to be still inside, so the field can reconfigure everything around you. It does not ask you to try, it asks you to be aware, to see, to notice, and that awareness is what completes the entire process. If you feel yourself changing in a very subtle, very gentle, and very precise way, it is because the echo phase is working. If you feel everything inside you becoming clearer, even though nothing big is happening, it's because the energy is moving into layers you were not stable enough to reach before. This is the moment when you are no longer distracted by loud signals. You can hear the small vibrations, and those small vibrations are the most important data. The echo phase is the reminder that real transformation always happens after the special moment ends. Not when you see the light, but when the light begins to spread into the corners you once feared to look at. Not when the portal opens, but when what it brings starts merging with you. This is the phase that shapes you at the deepest level, and it is happening right now, whether you recognize it or not. The echo phase is the part you cannot skip if you want to step into the new timeline with true stability. This is the phase where the field whispers to you the things it could not say during the moment the gate opened. And if you listen closely enough, you will understand that the changes you just went through were only the beginning. What is coming is the part meant for you. The personal timeline shift begins to appear when you realize that your inner responses are changing in ways you cannot explain with ordinary logic. It is not a big change, not an event or a turning point, but a slight shift in perception that makes you look at everything from a different angle. You realize you no longer react the way you used to, no longer get pulled into the stories that once hurt you, no longer hold on to the things that kept you anchored in an outdated reality. This is the first sign that your timeline is shifting. Timelines do not change through major events. Timelines change through small but precise realizations. When the timeline begins to split, you will feel a kind of invisible distance forming between you and your old version. You can still remember that version, but you no longer identify with it. You no longer live inside the old fears. You no longer react from the old wounds. You no longer try to prove anything to anyone. You no longer seek validation from places that once hurt you. A timeline shift always begins with this kind of detachment, quiet but irreversible. You know you have changed. You feel it before you understand it. As the new timeline forms, you will start observing life with a higher level of clarity. What used to distract you no longer has the same pull. You see your true motives clearly. You see which relationships nourish you and which ones repeat old loops. You recognize when someone speaks without speaking truth. You sense the layer of energy beneath their words or actions. This is the moment you understand the world is no longer operating through appearances but through frequency. Timeline shifts always come with a restructuring of emotional patterns. You may feel calmer for no apparent reason, not because life has become easier, but because you are no longer using old emotional filters to interpret new experiences. You no longer get pulled into drama, no longer fall into overanalysis, no longer react out of habit. You pause more, observe more, feel more, and naturally know what is right for you without having to think too much. This is not random. It is the process of the new timeline pulling you with its clarity. Another important sign of a timeline shift is the change in desire. Things that once excited you suddenly lose their pull. You no longer crave the goals you once considered important. Plans that once felt logical now feel heavy. Meanwhile, you are drawn to things you once thought you were not capable of, did not have time for, or did not have the courage to pursue. You want to live differently. You want to enter new experiences. You feel a gentle but clear call from within, pushing you toward a direction you cannot ignore. A timeline shift always comes with a special form of honesty. You begin looking directly at the things you once avoided. You admit that some relationships have reached their natural end. Some habits are holding you back. Some expectations no longer serve you. Some parts of you need to be released so you can step into the reality that fits you better. When the old timeline begins to fall away, you may feel a light kind of emptiness. This is not a sign of loss, but a sign of transition. The old timeline always leaves a space behind, and that space is where the new timeline starts to take root. If you feel yourself detaching from things that once felt familiar, that is not disconnection, that is movement. A timeline shift also appears through changes in intuition. You hear your inner voice more clearly. Not in words, but in the unmistakable sense that this is right and this is not. No evidence, no analysis, but, intuition appears strongest when a new timeline is forming, because intuition is the map. You do not need to understand everything to step into the new timeline. You only need to recognize that something is opening. And one of the clearest signs is when you feel that a deeper version of you is waiting ahead. You do not know exactly what it is, but you can feel its presence. It is like walking into a dark room while knowing there is light on the other side, even if you cannot see it yet. A timeline shift is the synchrony of mind, emotion, and frequency. When all three align toward the same direction, you begin stepping into a new reality naturally. Not by force, not by effort, but by flow. The new timeline does not ask you to prove anything, it only asks you to release what makes you heavy. And when you do, reality begins to change to match you. Opportunities you did not look for begin to appear. People you did not seek begin to come closer. Doors you did not know existed begin to open. All because your timeline has changed direction and reality must reflect it. A timeline shift is not just a change in life. It is a change in how you exist in life. As the new timeline solidifies, you will feel yourself becoming lighter, brighter, calmer, and more real. You gradually step out of the old version of yourself, with ease, without struggle, without regret. You simply feel you cannot stay there anymore, and that is the clearest signal. A timeline shift does not begin with a step forward. It begins with a moment you cannot stand in the old place for one more second. And from that moment, you begin entering the new reality you have been preparing for all along. The field is still open even when the milestone of November 11 has passed. The truth is that energetic gateways do not close just because humans flip a page on the calendar. The field does not operate by dates. The field operates by frequency. When your frequency matches the layer that the gateway opens into, you step in. When your frequency is not yet ready, the gateway does not disappear. It simply stays still and waits for you to reach the point of contact. Everything operates according to one simple but profound principle. Alignment matters more than timing. This is why some people step into the portal on the exact day, while others step in a week later, a month later, or at some seemingly random moment on the most ordinary day. The field does not close to anyone who carries the matching signal. What creates the difference is not the date, but the inner state. When you reach a certain level of clarity, you automatically synchronize with the energetic layer that the portal opened. No ritual is needed, no special hour, no perfect moment. The field always operates through a call and response mechanism. When your frequency changes, you emit a certain type of signal. The field reads that signal and opens the exact layer of reality that corresponds to it. Therefore, no one truly misses November 11. They only miss the moment of realizing that the gateway had already opened inside them. Those who understand this always see opportunity even after the event has ended. They know the portal's energy is still flowing in the subtle structure of awareness. They know that the gentle changes in mind, body, and emotion are still happening, not because of lingering effects, but because the field is not closed. The field simply shifts from strong vibration to deep vibration, from stirring to shaping, from opening outward to opening inward. When you enter this phase, you will notice that synchronistic signs do not disappear. They simply change form. Instead of appearing externally through bold coincidences, they begin appearing internally through moments of clarity. You no longer need repeating numbers to know you are being called. You only need a very small but certain feeling that you are stepping into a deeper layer of yourself. One of the clearest signs that the field is still open is the ability to feel subtle impulses with high precision. Right before you step into a new timeline, you will feel yourself being gently nudged in a direction you cannot explain. It is not the sensation of being pushed, it is the sensation of being guided. You cannot see everything, but you know the next step. You do not need to see the whole path, you only need to see the first point of light. The field always gives you exactly the amount of information you can process, no more and no less. The subtlety of the field lies in the fact that it does not pressure you, it does not pull you, it simply opens a direction for you to step into, and when you step, it opens the next part. This is the mechanism of opening layers of reality that sensitive people always feel. There are also people who think they missed the opportunity simply because they did nothing on the day the portal opened. They forget that the real portal is not in the action, the portal is in the readiness inside. Some meditate with perfect rituals but do not step into a new timeline because their heart is not open. But some sit in silence for a few minutes and their timeline shifts because they reach the right inner state. The most important thing in the post-portal phase is how much clarity you can hold within your inner stillness. When you are still enough, you hear the signal. When you are clear enough, you see the direction. When you are honest enough with yourself, you step into the new timeline naturally. If you feel you are being guided toward choices that feel lighter, clearer, more correct for you, that is a sign that the field is opening for you. You do not need to rush. The field does not close just because you did not follow the calendar. The field closes when you stop being honest with yourself, and the field opens whenever you return to your inner truth. This is why those who enter the portal late often experience deeper transformation than those who enter on the exact day. They are not following the collective, they are following their own frequency, not distorted by collective expectation, not swayed by group energy, not influenced by surface excitement. They move according to the true motion of their own heart, and that truth opens the gateway in a more purified way. The field remains open because you are still changing, you are still asking questions. You are still looking at yourself. You are still feeling that you cannot live the old way. You are still carrying a part of you that is walking toward the future. When the inside is not fully closed, the field will not close. You are at a point where energy no longer needs an event to activate you. You are at a point where each small realization is a step into the gateway. You are at a point where your frequency is strong enough to open the path on its own. The field always responds to truth of frequency, not the timeline of dates. And if you are reading this with the feeling that something inside you is still opening, that is the clearest proof that the field has never closed for you. The gateway is not shut. It is simply waiting for you to reach the layer of awareness where you can see that it is still open. And from the moment you recognize this, you are already standing on the threshold of your new reality. The release wave is the phase that many people mistake for a setback, but in truth, it is the strongest signal that you are leaving your old layer of reality. When your frequency begins to rise after a portal, the field automatically adjusts the environment around you to match the new version of yourself that is emerging. This never happens by gently holding on to what is old. It always begins by pushing away what no longer belongs to you. The release wave is like a tide, rising onto the shore and sweeping away what no longer fits so it can return to you a clean ground. Not to punish you, not to test you, but to free you from the attachments you no longer have the frequency to maintain. When this wave appears, you will feel your life become a bit chaotic in ways you did not expect. Relationships that were once central suddenly feel distant. Conversations that once excited you now feel heavy. Places that once felt familiar now feel cramped. You look at everything and realize that even the things you tried so hard to hold on to are slipping out of your hands. This is not loss, this is liberation. When a new timeline forms, you cannot carry the old versions into it. The field must remove from you the things that, if kept, would pull you back into the old level of awareness. The release wave does not ask if you are ready. It reads your true frequency and acts according to the level of maturity you have reached. If you have raised your frequency, it must clear the path. One of the clearest signs of the release wave is the cracking of connections that once mattered, not because you or they have become worse, but because the two frequencies no longer intersect. You have changed and they remain in the old layer. Or the other way around, that the energies no longer match, so the meeting becomes suffocating. You may feel misunderstood, distant, or simply like there is nothing left to say. The truth is that the relationship has completed its purpose in your growth. The field is returning it to its rightful place, so you can step into connections that align better. The release wave does not only affect relationships, it also impacts habits, intentions, perception, and even the body. Things that were once part of your daily life suddenly feel heavy. You no longer want to eat certain foods you once enjoyed. You no longer want to do the routines that once comforted you. You no longer want to stay in places you once called home. You feel an urge to leave, to remove, to step out, even without a clear plan. This is the feeling of a version of you growing and no longer fitting into the old shell. The release wave shows you what no longer fits by making it impossible to maintain. It creates pressure so you cannot keep forcing yourself. It lowers the energy of old things so you have no reason to cling. It generates discomfort or fatigue when you try to hold on to what has expired. The release wave does not make you uncomfortable to hurt you. It makes you uncomfortable so you are no longer attached to what is old. This is how the field moves you into a different reality without needing you to struggle. Another important sign of the release wave is the appearance of empty space. When the old things leave, you will feel a strange emptiness, not sadness, not loneliness, just an open space where what once occupied you is now gone. This space is what many people fear most because it does not give the familiar sense of safety, but it is the most important part. The release wave creates space so the new timeline has room to settle in. Without the empty space, nothing new can enter. When your life begins to feel lighter in a strange way, that is not lack. That is new space opening. And within that space, you begin to sense things you never sensed before. You may feel new desires emerging, new intentions forming, new perceptions rising. You begin having thoughts you never had before, not because you are trying to change, but because you have been emptied just enough for the new frequency to flow in. The release wave also clarifies what you truly want in a natural way. When the old things leave, you do not try to get them back. You no longer want to return. You no longer look for reasons to fix it. You clearly see that the door is closed from both sides, and instead of resisting, you feel peaceful. This is the clearest sign of frequency maturity. The release wave ends when you no longer cling to old versions, no longer regret stories that have ended, and no longer trap yourself in expectations that have expired. When you allow everything to unfold according to the frequency you are moving toward, you will feel a complete purification. No pain, no force, no resistance. Just a deep sense of relief rising from within. It is the moment you understand you have not lost anything. You have only returned what no longer belongs to you. The release wave is the field's way of wiping away expired energetic imprints so you can step into a cleaner version of yourself. You do not need to control this process. You only need not resist it. When you let go of what has expired, you are sending a powerful signal to the field. That signal says you are ready for the layer of reality you are stepping into. The release wave will always arrive at the exact moment you need it, so you do not carry the past into the future. And from the moment you pass through that wave, you will enter a reality where everything aligns more harmoniously with the person you are becoming. The integration window begins to open the moment the release wave inside you starts to settle. This is the phase where the new energy no longer just touches you, but begins to merge with your structure. It no longer arrives as strong signals, no longer appears as clear pushes, but becomes a quiet, continuous flow that adjusts your entire emotional and perceptual system from within. And if you are still here with me at this moment, leave a like so I know your frequency is here, syncing, open and receiving. Your presence is part of this integration process. The integration window does not bring the explosive experiences of when the portal opens, nor does it create the turbulence of the release wave. This phase is like stepping into a quiet space where all the data you have received begins to rearrange itself naturally. What is unnecessary sinks to the bottom. What you keep rises into intention, and what is truly meant for you connects with you in a very smooth way. The integration window is the time when you do not need to do much, yet you transform the most. Because this is the phase where the field measures how well you can hold the new frequency, not through external action, but through internal stability. When you begin to see yourself calmer, clearer, and no longer pulled by old reactions, it means the new energy has begun merging with your stable structure. The integration window always appears as a slowing down. Not slowing because you are tired, but slowing because you see everything more clearly. You no longer react out of fear. You no longer make rushed choices. You no longer chase the things that used to drain your energy. You become naturally selective. What nourishes you and what pulls you away from your center. This is the first sign that the new frequency has begun to anchor within you. One of the strongest characteristics of the integration window is your ability to turn inward more easily. Before, you had to try to listen to yourself. Now you only need a few seconds of silence, and you understand what you are feeling, wanting, or needing to release. Intuition no longer appears as a flash, but becomes a stable state. It is like a gentle stream of information flowing through your mind without effort. The integration window does not force you to change. It simply helps you see what is changing, what is growing, what is ending, what you need to keep, what you need to leave behind. This is the phase where your mind becomes more transparent. You no longer have to struggle to understand yourself. You simply see that your body, emotions, and awareness are restructuring themselves in alignment with the new reality. This phase also brings a strange sense of deep peace. Not peace because everything is smooth outside, but peace because you no longer resist what is happening inside. You no longer need to control everything, no longer need to bend yourself to fit the environment, no longer need to hold on to what has left your frequency. You accept what comes, you release what goes, you stay in your center instead of running around it. The integration window teaches you that stability is not standing still, but standing in your axis. Another subtle sign of the integration window is the shift in how you perceive time. Some days pass very quickly as if you only blinked. Some days stretch as if a large amount of internal data is being processed. This happens because time is no longer measured by minutes and hours, but by how much you are changing. When you sync fast, time compresses. When you integrate deeply, time expands. This is a common experience when a new timeline is being anchored. The integration window is also the phase where you begin to see external signs reflecting internal change. Not loud synchronicities like repeating numbers or sudden events, but subtle changes. You meet the right person at the right moment without effort. Small conversations bring big clarity. Doors that seemed closed gently open. You sense that reality is responding to you with a new level of precision. This is clear evidence that the field has begun rearranging your environment to match the frequency you are holding. The integration window is also when you become more sensitive to what aligns and what does not. Instead of trying to find answers, you simply observe the energy. You feel what makes you heavy and what makes you light, what contracts you and what opens you, what pulls you back to the past and what leads you into the future. This sensitivity is not something you learned. It is the result of new energy integrating into your system. You become sharper without trying. Another important part of the integration window is that your body begins to adjust. You may feel like eating lighter, drinking more water, sleeping deeper, or you may feel unusually clear at unexpected hours. These are natural responses as the body adapts to the new frequency. There is nothing wrong if you need more rest or if you become unusually still. The body is processing the large amount of energetic data you received in earlier phases. The integration window ends when the new energy has woven itself into your entire structure. You no longer feel pulled between two layers of awareness. You stand in a clearer point, not because you tried to change, but because you have changed. Integration is completed, and you begin operating from the new reality naturally. From this point on, every action you take no longer comes from reaction. It comes from choice, no longer from fear. It comes from clarity, no longer from the old version. It comes from the version you are becoming. This is the sign that the integration window has completed. And when you step out of it, reality begins moving according to you instead of you trying to chase reality. The call to align always appears at the moment you begin to realize that everything in your life is no longer operating in the old way. This is not a call from the outside, not a bright signal or a loud sign. It comes from a very deep layer where you feel that it is time to live in alignment with the frequency you have been touching all this time. You no longer want to stand between two realities, no longer want to take one step forward and one step back, no longer want to hold on to the parts that make you shrink yourself. This call does not use words, it uses feeling. The feeling that you cannot go back, the feeling that you have gone too far to live as before, the feeling that if you continue staying in the old layer, you will betray the truth inside you. When this call appears, everything becomes clear in a way that needs no explanation. You know what no longer belongs to you. You know what pulls you off your center. You know what is opening, and you know what is completed. This is clarity that needs no reason, no evidence, no agreement from anyone. It is the kind of clarity that only comes when your inner world and the field touch each other on the same frequency. The call to align does not ask you to be strong or decisive. It only asks you to be honest with your truest feeling, honest with what is happening inside, brave enough to look at what you have postponed, and gentle enough to stop trying to save what you know has ended. When you enter this call, you no longer ask whether you are ready. You only ask whether you dare to live as your true version. This is the moment when small choices begin shaping the new reality, not through big actions, but through consistency with the vibrations you have integrated. You choose to stay where you expand, not where you shrink. You choose to walk away from old loops, even if you do not know what lies ahead. You choose to listen to intuition instead of pleasing everyone. You choose to protect your inner peace instead of protecting your outer image. These choices seem small, but they form the foundation of the new timeline you are about to step into. When the call becomes clearer, you also begin to notice that nothing comes to you randomly in this phase. Every conversation, every soft synchronicity, every quiet moment carries a message. The field uses very small details to guide you back to your axis. If you feel pulled towards something for no reason, that is a signal. If you suddenly feel like changing something you once avoided, that is a signal. If you notice old things leaving too easily, that is also a signal. The call to align is the reminder that you are no longer standing at the threshold. You have entered the threshold, and now you only need to continue forward with honesty. When you answer this call through action, reality shifts faster than you expect. Not because you are forcing anything to happen, but because you are no longer doing anything that goes against your frequency. You begin living truthfully. You begin choosing correctly. You begin moving in the direction your heart leads. And that is the point where the field responds the strongest. From here, every step carries clarity. Every choice becomes a signal to the field. Every pure moment opens a new layer of reality. The call to align is the final connection point between who you have become and what you are about to step into. Not an ending, not a beginning, but the point where you stand in your true axis and let reality move around that truth. When you hear this call from within, the gateway to the new timeline is no longer just open. It is waiting for you to step in with the absolute honesty of your being